I struggled with binge eating, emotional eating my whole life, and I even started my first diet when I was 12. But no matter what I would try, even if I would lose weight, I would gain that weight back ASAP. And at some point, I gave up and I accepted the fact that I will never feel confident in my body. Achieving my goal physique, having a healthy relationship with food felt like impossible. But after years of failure and trying, I actually fixed my relationship with food and I'm able to maintain a somewhat fit physique without restricting myself. So in this video, I'm going to explain what I've did, my whole journey, and how I'm able to maintain my physique without restricting myself. Okay, so let me give you a quick overview of my background. Since I was 12, I sort of became conscious about my body, and at that time, I don't know if you guys remember, but thigh gaps were such a big thing, and I naturally have thicker thighs. And I was always so self-conscious about them. And since I was 12, I would start going on diets and I knew calories in, calories out. So I would reverse engineer my goal weight. Let's say I am 56 kilos or something and my goal weight is 50 and I want to lose 6 kilos, right? And I want to do it maybe in 2 months. So that means I need to lose weight, 3 kilos every single month. So I would calculate the amount of calories that I need to eat and the amount of calories I need to burn. And I would continue that for a while and I would start to see some results. But because I was restricting myself and I was telling myself that I can't eat more than this amount of calories and I also need to burn this amount of, let's say, calories per day, I would always punish myself for eating, let's say, a bit more than what I was supposed to eat. And that caused me to develop a binge eating and unhealthy relationship with food where I would feel like I am not allowed to eat until I get to that certain weight, and then I would punish myself with working out excessively and trying to burn off the excessive calories that I got. So that made me really develop this toxic relationship towards food where I would restrict myself for a period of time and then binge eat very badly. And then oftentimes I would even gain more weight because of these binge eating periods. And also another unhealthy relationship that I developed was that whenever I would get stressed and whenever, let's say, there was a lot of things going on in my life, I would try to release that stress by eating. And that continued actually until I graduated from high school. And after high school, when I moved abroad, at that time, I was dealing with major depression. I got diagnosed with depression, and that was something going on for years. We had a lot of family issues and financial issues, and probably at that point, when I moved alone and when I first started living alone, that was probably one of my lowest points in my life. There were so many things going on. I have another video talking about it. But anyway, during those depressive episodes, yes, I was eating emotionally. I also was binge eating, but also I started a very unhealthy habit of drinking alcohol quite often. So with the combination of binge eating and drinking excessive amount of alcohol, I started to gain a lot of weight. In the middle of my depressive episodes, I had this inner call of feeling of I need to do something about this. I'm quite into personal development, but if I'm not treating my body right, then who am I to talk about personal development, right? And I was okay, I want to eat healthy and I want to move my body consistently, but at this point, I'm struggling to get out of my house, and I was even struggling to get out of my bed, to be honest. So I was okay, maybe fixing my diet is something that I can deal later after I figure out working out consistently. Because for me personally, eating healthy was much difficult than working out consistently because I kind of liked working out. So I decided to first establish that habit, and after I build the momentum, move on to the other areas like my sleep, water intake, food, etc., etc. And I came across this thing called micro-commitment, which basically means you break down the habit that you want to build into such a small chunk that you can accomplish it in 2 minutes. And if you do that small thing, that day is a win. So for example, I want to go to the gym and I want to work out consistently, right? That's my goal. So my micro commitment would be maybe putting my workout clothes, let's say on top of my bed. That's a micro commitment. If you do that, you're successful. But I personally picked mine as just putting on my workout clothes every single day. It sounds very stupid, right? Because at that point, when I was also doing it, I also felt stupid. But I was okay, I failed anyway with other methods, so let me just try this one. And at one time, I was okay, I already have my workout clothes on. Why not go for a walk. I remember the first time when I went for a walk after maybe like 2-3 weeks not getting out of my house, I literally was about to cry. I was so proud of myself. I started to go here and there, like for walks, and I started to move my body. Even after like I established the habit of at least moving my body, going outside, I didn't raise the bar for my micro commitment. I always kept it as low as it can be. And even though it feels like you're not progressing when you are setting this micro commitment, it actually helped me tremendously because I had such a low bar, especially I think if you're in a mentally low like space right now or a phase right now. It's really important to set these small goals and actually treat them like a legitimate goal. So after I started going for regular walks, I decided to sign up for a gym. And I wanted to lift weights actually. I wanted to start weightlifting because I've seen like a lot of gym girls on Instagram and I was so obsessed. I became obsessed that I wanted to be like one of them. So I wanted to start weightlifting. But when I started going to the gym, I actually looked into the weightlifting section and it was so intimidating. I was the only female. There were so many buffed guys lifting heavy weights and I felt so out of place. And I just felt like everyone was looking at me whenever I would go to the weightlifting section. I felt so stupid. So I was like, okay, I cannot continue this. So how can I apply the micro commitment thing this time for weightlifting? So I decided first I will start with the cardio machines, right? So that I will get used to the gym environment and it will feel like my second home. And I started using the cardio machines like maybe 3 to 5 times per week. And I was just like watching YouTube videos. And after the gym started to feel like my third place, I started to slowly move to the gym like machines, not the serious ones, more like approachable ones, and I started to use them here and there. And once I also got used to them, I started to watch some YouTube videos about like dumbbell workouts, not barbells, but dumbbell workouts, and I started to follow through these YouTube videos and Instagram videos. After I got also used to the dumbbells, I slowly started to move towards the barbells. And workouts using barbell are a little bit more, I think, dangerous than the dumbbells because it's like heavier and you can injure yourself, and I had no idea what I was doing. And I was so scared that people will look at me and people will think that I'm so bad at this. But in reality, actually, gym people are one of the best people ever. When I was at the beginning of my gym journey and I was using barbells, people around me helped me and taught me how to use it and keep a correct form. So it was really helpful. I thought these buff people, very cocky or whatever, but actually they're very helpful. Because they went through the same journey too. They probably know what it feels like to feel out of place at the gym. So anyway, I started to look forward to going to the gym. So that's basically how I established a routine when it comes to consistently working out. Me going to the gym consistently helped me to actually reduce the amount of alcohol that I was drinking without even trying. I wasn't really trying to reduce the amount or frequency, but probably because I had a different way to process my emotions and my stress, I started to rely less and less on alcohol. Because if I would drink next day, I would not be able to lift that much weight and it would affect my performance. That was another reason why I started drinking less alcohol. Also, I have ADHD and alcohol is a source of dopamine, right? So that was probably another way of me trying to deal with my ADHD. But as soon as I started weightlifting, because of the amount of serotonin and dopamine I would get from weightlifting, I slowly started to rely less on alcohol. And now I don't even drink like once per week. I probably drink less than that. And by the way, like building this habit of working out consistently, it actually took me about a year to really establish it. It didn't take me like about a month or so. It took me literally like 12 months. And after I started working out consistently, I decided to also tackle the food part, right? So I started to weight myself every single day and also log every single thing that I was eating during that day. Some people say don't track whatever you're eating. It's very toxic. It's very unhealthy, etc. Just eat intuitively. But I kind of disagree with that because in my opinion, at the beginning of your weight loss journey, especially if you had a toxic relationship with food or if you never, let's say like someone taught you about calories and nutrients, then most of the time your intuition is quite wrong about food because we oftentimes have very toxic mindset and unhealthy patterns when it comes to food and wellness. So, in the past, I would try to restrict my calories and unhealthy relationship with food, right? Because I would tell myself I'm not allowed to these kind of food groups. I'm not allowed to eat maybe before going to bed. So I would feel like I was trapped and I would eat more, right? So this time I decided to do things differently. I told myself, okay, I am going to weight myself every day and I'm going to track every single thing that I'm eating. But instead of restricting myself and setting a calorie goal, I'm just going to track. I'm just going to observe what is going on so that I can have a better understanding of whatever pattern, whatever habits I have so that I can improve them. And whenever I was weighting myself, I would weight myself right after waking up and after using the toilet, no food or no water intake and no clothes. I would weight myself around the same time basically every single day. And I would log that into my Notion database. And at the end of each day, I would also log the amount of calories that I ate that day also into my Notion dashboard. And I started to see some patterns after a while, right? Like if I would eat a lot, yes, next day I might gain a little bit of weight, but I would also see in my Notion database that after 3 days actually, even if I would eat a bit more, my weight would come down naturally. And also, not only the calories and not only the weight, and also on top of that, I started to track my period on the same dashboard too. And I realized that actually my weight fluctuation was really correlated to my period. And I would eat more before my period. And during my period, I would lose more weight and I would become more active. So before tracking that, I would always second guess myself, right? I would get panicked if, let's say, my weight is increased compared to last day. And I would feel bad about myself and I would feel out of control. And that was the reason why I developed a anxious relationship towards food, because I felt like I had no control over, and no matter what I was doing, I felt like nothing was working. But because I tracked it and because I could see the patterns, it allowed me to gain a sense of control, and it allowed me to detach my emotions from food and just understand that before my period I will eat more, maybe move less, and after my period I'll probably eat less and move more, so my weight will come down. For some people it might actually backfire, like this method of tracking everything, but for me personally, realizing the patterns that I was going through was really helpful. And if you're interested, I have my Notion dashboard in the description for free. And after doing this, like tracking my food intake, my weight, and also working out consistently for about, I think, another year, I started to get like quite fit. I started to get some compliments from people at my gym or maybe from my friends saying that, ooh, you look buff and stuff like that. And I started to feel more energized towards life, and actually working out probably was one of the biggest things that helped me deal with depression. Right now, I'm still weighting myself every day, but I don't really track any calories. But the reason why I'm weighting myself is that so that, let's say, like whenever I gain more than maybe 2 kilos or something, I restart tracking my food to see whether I established a new unhealthy habit, because it's actually so easy to develop an unhealthy habit without you realizing it. And because I don't want to like establish that new unhealthy habit as a major one, I try to like find the thing and cure the symptom as early as I can. And most of the time when I weight myself and when I'm, let's say, gaining more than 2 kilos, it's either one of these things happening. I'm becoming lazier and I'm going outside less and I'm staying indoors all the time and I'm not moving my body enough, which happens quite often. You know, I'm a YouTuber, so I'm sedentary as fuck, so I don't move enough. And 2, I got obsessed with a certain food or certain junk food that I'm eating it and I'm not eating healthy. And the third is those like not moving enough and eating junk food is happening all at once. So whenever, let's say, my weight goes up, I track my calories and I track my food intake and I'm able to see the pattern. You know, I can see that, oh, at nighttime I'm eating a lot of French fries. Why is that? And I look at my breakfast and lunch and I realize that maybe I'm not eating enough carbs. And that's the reason maybe during dinner time I crave carbs, and the fastest way I can intake is French fries. And I try to like cure that symptom rather than trying to lose the weight that I gained. So overall, not setting any calorie goals and not trying to set a certain gym milestone, like going to the gym 3 to 5 times a week or something, actually helped me to be more consistent with it, because I don't really have a bar that I need to keep. You know, for my gym, I established a micro commitment that helped me to start working out consistently. And when it comes to food, I just log it and I don't even set a goal. This method alone completely changed the game for me. And right now going to the gym is a second nature for me. I feel weird if I don't go to the gym because it became such a normal thing for me to do. I don't even need motivation to go to the gym because it's just a part of my life and part of my identity. And when it comes to eating healthy, I'm not necessarily the most healthiest person ever or anything. I drink sometimes, I eat junk food here and there, but I don't really feel to do it every single day because I can eat it anytime I want anyway. So there's not a novelty when it comes to junk food. Therefore, I don't crave eating donuts at 2 a.m. suddenly 5 donuts or something. By not restricting myself and by focusing more on building and establishing and changing my lifestyle completely, it was actually much easier for me to lose weight and also maintain this physique and overall have a healthier lifestyle. Because I also realized if you want to lose weight or maybe gain weight, maybe you want to build more muscles and maybe you want to gain more weight. Whatever that we do, if we cannot continue it for the next 2, 3, 5+ years, then we're going to gain back that weight anyway. So every single change that you do is a lifestyle change. And when you start to think in that way, you stop chasing weird weight loss hacks, weird detoxes or anything. Instead of trying to get fit before summer or bikini body or anything like that, aim for maybe a year. Tell yourself in a year you're going to establish maybe a healthier habits instead of trying to lose weight. Because remember, the body that you have right now, even if you love it or hate it, you worked for it for years through the habits, through the actions that you have right now. Your current habits, your current mindset built that body. So for you to have a different body, different lifestyle, different mindset, it's going to take a long time. Start with the simple steps. You don't need to have a crazy body transformation, I promise. Okay? So eat a bit healthier, hit the gym, and I'll see you.